Well, I think I'll share my screen and do the Inclucity part, and then we'll come back with a kind of a joint conversation afterwards. Again, feel free to put any questions you have in the chat, and then when we start our kind of joint discussion, we can certainly unmute and kind of do it that way. All right, let me get into full screen view. So yeah, Inclucity Calgary. This is all about inclusive usability testing, and we'll talk a lot more about that. This is really a joint initiative of two meetup groups. So CivicTechYYC hosting tonight, and the other group is Calgary UX. So Lewis, who is on the call today, leads that Calgary UX group. So you can ask him any questions about Calgary UX. It's a great group. And Lewis is actually on the board of Inclucity Calgary, as is Murray, who's asking the question there as well. So Murray, Lewis, feel free to chip in with any comments as we're going through. I'd like to start though with giving a bit of a higher level perspective to what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish. And really, it's all about what we call tech for good. And this is a worldwide movement that is happening in many different countries in many different ways. It has different names, right? So civic tech is one name, but there's GovTech, there's open data, there's community tech, there's all kinds of different groups, digital social innovation, that are essentially working, folks using technical skills, whether it's technology or data, using those skills for good. This is an article. It's called the Next Chapter of Tech for Good Global, an organization in the UK that kind of helps shepherd some of these worldwide initiatives. So for us, we have kind of a civic tech focus on this. And civic tech we define as a movement in which citizens and governments work together to use technology, data, and design for public good. And fostering civic tech in cities like Calgary helps to enhance public engagement, as well as sort of increase public engagement, as well as enhance digital services. But it does this in kind of unique ways, right? Ways that are more inclusive, are innovative, responsive, open, and citizen-centered. So Civic Tech in Calgary, we were launched in 2017, and we have over 900 members now on Meetup. And we launched with a lot of support from the City of Calgary and the Civic Innovation Lab and folks working there, as well as Rainforest Alberta, which is kind of an informal networking group started 3, maybe 4 years ago, has grown dramatically to thousands of people. They have a weekly lunch without lunch on a Wednesday. It's really a great place for you to be. If you haven't been involved with Rainforest Alberta, go to rainforestab.ca. You have to sign up to this social charter, but there's great networking. There's a Slack channel, and I would really encourage that, especially for kind of newcomers to the tech scene in Calgary and in Alberta. So what we did with Civic Tech is brought people together who had this interest in using technology to help improve their community. And the driving force was to break down barriers between various silos, create a space for collaboration between various groups and individuals, and address these challenges and opportunities for citizens and government. And one way we like to think about civic tech is as an innovation space. An innovation space where people working across sectors can come together to build community and solve problems. So whether it's citizens and civil society, with various community challenges and opportunities, or whether it's governments and the public sector and various services, all of these kind of mix together in the middle around with some of the projects that we launched through Civic Tech. And I mentioned it earlier, but the word project is really important because we need that kernel of an idea. Anybody that comes up with a great opportunity or wants to do something in their community that involves a bit of technology, all you got to do is come to a Civic Tech meetup and pitch your idea, convince a few other people that it's a good one, and then away we go. So, inclusive usability testing. What is all this about? You might have heard about usability testing or usability, but probably not the inclusive usability testing. So this whole thing started probably about 10 years ago with what was called then civic user testing. And these so-called cut groups, and they were started in places like Chicago. And these were groups that facilitate better, more inclusive and accessible usability testing that engages residents in the creation of technology that's meant to serve them. So all those words are really important, and we'll dive into some of that. So I mentioned Chicago is kind of where it started, and now it's kind of spread across the US to a variety of cities. It's come into Canada as well. Toronto started their GRIT group, gathering residents to improve technology. A group that's started through Code for Canada a couple of years ago. And now we're wanting to bring this idea to Calgary with what we call Inclucity. So just to give you a bit of a comparison between the more traditional approaches to usability testing and what we're trying to do with inclusive testing. So traditionally, testing would be done in office settings, and folks would hire a group of maybe a marketing research firm and a company, and they would have some consumer testers come in and do some testing, but all really related to the business context, the downtown kind of business context. What we do is different. We have a community context. So the testing that we do are in places like libraries and community centers. Traditional testing done during the day, right? Because you're kind of having those focus groups come in and that sort of thing. We're much more flexible, doing tests, maybe it's a weekend, right? Or after hours. It's times when your average person, your average resident, your average citizen is available to help out on these things. Traditional testing tends to be very kind of smaller groups with a very limited reach and demographics, which are very narrow. What we're trying to do is get very broad representation, focusing on diversity and inclusion, especially with groups that are traditionally underrepresented in this type of thing. And traditional testing tends to be transactional. Okay, you come in for an hour, give some feedback, and away you go, right? We try to build relationships, right? And so it starts before the test, during the test, and continues after the test. And we really want to build trust with the testers and with our clients, and respect and empathy. And we work hard, right, to do various types of accommodation and support the groups that we're interfacing with. So we want to respect people's time and energy and talent and their input. So we pay for the time for them to come in and do the test, to provide their input. If they need help with transportation, we'll pay for that, for accessibility and getting folks there, subsidizing the transport. Even childcare, right? If a family has a couple children that they can't afford to take some time off to help provide some their input, so we'll provide some childcare for that. And as well, because we're engaging with newcomers and immigrants and those that are from multicultures, we also try to provide as much language support as possible. And the focus really is to have a group of representative testers that have a large degree of diversity and inclusion. So a wide cross section across the entire city within various communities, including those that might be marginalized and traditionally underrepresented in society today. Thus enabling more people to have a voice, often in the solutions that are there intended to use. So whether it's the city of Calgary that's developing an app or a service that's intended for all citizens, or whether it's a private company like a bank or an institution like a university or a college or a private company, the applications and processes that they want tested, they want them to be used by a wide cross section of society, but that wide cross section is not traditionally used in the testing. So we want to give people a voice in that, providing their feedback. And of course, this building relationships is really important. So, we're not just kind of using people and casting them away. We want to really build that relationship before, during, and after. Transparency, scope, and purpose is really important, to be very upfront as to what we're doing, why we're doing it. Things like, this is what we heard and this is how it helps, and follow up to testing is very important. And in engaging this wide cross section to help in providing feedback through usability testing, this can really help promote digital literacy as well. Just that aspect of helping people, be familiar with the internet or a browser, or how to download something, or how to use various features on a mobile phone. Creating what we call digital citizens. In Chicago, for example, they've engaged over 1,000 citizens as testers, with representation from all across the city. And the programs that they've run, right, has led to increased access to the internet, improvements in technology skills and digital literacy, as well as the development of meaningful products that have benefited from all this input from this wide cross section of people. Bottom line is, it gives better results for the clients that are asking that their apps or their processes be tested, but also for citizens in the community as well. It results in more authentic feedback and better representation of clients and customers. This is, reduces the bias and a better understanding of different contexts and conditions that may never have been thought of before, right? Because if you're engaging seniors, or you're engaging youth, if you're engaging newcomers in providing input, their contexts are totally different and need to be represented. And all of this results in more effective, at the end of the day, more effective products and services that are being used by all of us.